And we're live.
Hey everybody. Today, Jonah and I will be going, hello Jordan. We're going to be going over how to go from a mock-up to a full website. Full website here being HTML and CSS. So basically how to to start from an idea and a design and put it into actual code so that it can be visible to the web just in HTML and CSS. Obviously, you could probably also just make an image of it and put it on a some image hosting website, but that's not really what we're looking to do here. So to start with, I suppose we could go into mockups are generally used because it's easier to design a mockup than it is to just start coding and try to make a website. So you generally have either a group of people or a person whose job it is to actually make mockups. That is after all more art than technical skills. And then from there, you give it to a front-end web designer, and they would start actually making it into an actual website.
And yeah, if you want to do this yourself, there's a bunch of different tools you can use to do mockups. You can make them in Photoshop. It's pretty common. You can make them. There's a web software called Balsamic. You can also make web mockups there. What are some? Do you have any other ideas like what people use to make mockups?
Some people actually use literal paper.
Yeah, paper is a good one too. Forgot about that.
And they might actually like cut things out and sort of make it. You might think of it as arts and crafts, but that's sort of like what they actually do.
Yeah.
And then
for their redesign, they actually cut out little pieces of paper and use that as their design mockups. So it's, everybody uses it.
So that's what we'll be doing today. We'll be actually using the same mockup that you might have seen in class. So just to show that here, maybe I'll screen share. So this is actually what I was doing right now. This is the mockup that we'll be using. So Udacity symbol up top, name, this is basically supposed to be a resume type of thing. And then this is showing off some featured work with some images. The mockup is actually just the portion to the left of this white, or to the right of this white space. This is just designating which colors are going to be used. These are how the colors look. These are the actual color hex. What's the actual word for that? I don't know why I'm forgetting.
The what?
The word for the hex colors. Is it hex colors?
Hexadecimal codes?
Yeah. It's just the codes for the colors.
Right.
So that's what we'll be trying to do here, and we'll do it more or less from scratch. So
cool.
Let's open up Sublime and go. So the two main things we'll be using here are Sublime and the browser, since we'll be just opening it up in our browser quite often. So let's screen share Sublime. So what we'll be doing here, hopefully everyone can see that very blank screen.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So what we'll be doing here is first we'll just make an HTML file, since that's what we'll be using with it. Sorry, I'm resizing everything. Making the font a little bit bigger. So first we'll save this. We'll do it in, I think this is my blank thing right here, or semi-blank thing right here, and we'll just call it a web page, because I'm really talented at coming up with names. So just webpage.html. So I should be able to just type in HTML, and it sort of fills in the very, very basics with me for Sublime because I installed the HTML autofill.
I've never seen that before. It's cool. You just type HTML and press enter.
Tab, but yeah.
Oh, cool.
You can, if you want to look into how to make Sublime work like that for you, then it's just install package. Google it. It's not that complicated, but it's not that simple either. So from there, let's just add some really basic stuff like let's add a character set. Our title, what should we call our title?
My webpage. Luke's webpage.
Luke's webpage for Mockup. And then, of course, an important thing is we're going to have to link it to some CSS. So I'll link to, I'll call it styles.css. And that means I also have to make some actual, CSS. So let's open a new tab here. I don't want a new window. How do I just make a new tab?
You can make a new tab by just think new file.
Probably. That makes sense. Okay. So we'll just save this really quick as I think I said styles.css. That's there. So hopefully that looks like it works. Okay. So you can see both of those things. Now for mockups, did you want to screen share your the mockup I sent you?
Doing that so I can have
people
look at it. Let's see. Hold on. Being weird.
Hello, Mr. Pasco. Feel free to ask your questions.
Oh, cool. I guess I hadn't seen the question.
Anyway, I'll just keep on going on about what we'll be doing next. From the mockup, we'll be dividing, well, basically everything we'll do will be sort of putting the mockup into boxes, and those will be our divs. So that's how we're going to divide up the page into a bunch of different boxes inside boxes. And on an actual mockup, you might actually draw those in. You might literally just draw boxes around what you want to put as your different divs. And then we'll be using, basically so that we can, the mockup has at most 3 side-by-side pictures, like dividing the screen into thirds. Generally, we'll divide it into a grid of 12. That grid of 12 will allow us to actually make 4 side-by-side, 3 side-by-side, 2 side-by-side, just 1. It's divisible by all those things. So you can, it's sort of the standard for what you'd use for something like this. Anyway. I'll just move on then.
I'm back. All right. Yeah, it just wasn't the screen wasn't
sharing.
Log out back in, but we good now?
I'll actually copy and paste this from the actual, something you could have downloaded from the course. It's basically just, we're going to make some CSS for every single possible column between 1 and 12 and every row. And we're going to be doing that by putting basically this in. So each column has a specified width, and if you divide...
Could you increase your text size a little bit?
Sure. Can you see?
Yep.
Okay. Sure. So hopefully this works. The column width, this is just what you get when you have 100 divided by 12. And then you just double it, or not double it, but you increase by 8.3 every time. And so we have 1 through 12. And then we have a row for something that takes up the entirety of the screen, with width just 100% here. This margin bottom, I suppose I could delete for the moment. It's just specifying that we're not going to have a margin here, and that we're going to be able to flex the screen. So if you move things in and out, it'll keep images from overlapping and from not resizing, basically, or text from doing the same. So that's where we'll start. So now let's start adding in some stuff with our body. So I believe we may have to make a class grid. I forgot to do this. So again, opening, closing tags, oops, there. I think I actually forgot that from the CSS, is that we'll also need the grid to sort of hold everything together for the max width and all that stuff. So back to the CSS. Okay, so now that we have the grid, let's put that in right away. And then that's just what this is basically our whole body is going to be inside that grid. So this is, I'm not actually sure how necessary that technically was, because we could have just said for what we have for grid here is body, just if we're going to have the entire body inside the grid, but this is probably better practice. Anyway, let's make a class for the top, and keep on forgetting. Autofill can get a little annoying because sometimes it wants to fill in more than you actually want. But let's have, let's see. Actually, first let's draw some lines around the mock-up. So I'll stop screen sharing and share. Oh, I already stopped screen sharing. Sorry. I'll share the image I want to share there, which will be, where are you? So in the course, you'll have noticed this image at some point where they draw some boxes. So you have a big box on the outside over here, around basically like a type of header. It has the Udacity logo inside of it on the far right, and it has a smaller box designating the person and sort of just a title right over here. Then you're going to have, I don't really know if you necessarily need a box because this sort of takes up the whole row anyway, but you kind of can have a box here. And then you'd have another box probably right here, and then around all of this, where this is a box, and then each one of these would be also another box. So right here, right here, right here. So that's sort of what we'll try to match up here by making a grid like that. So
for each like big horizontal box, that would be one row, right?
Yep.
And then for each smaller box would be one column.
That is the idea. So let's screen share again. Hopefully you can still see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first, I believe so. You can't see the
Mockup.
Yeah, you can't see the mockup at the same time. Maybe you could share that at the same time so that they have a small, tiny little thing in the corner for them to stare at for what I'm trying to do. Is that possible? Can two people share something at the same time and have it just zoomed in on one?
I think it shows mine as a little thing in the corner.
Okay, well, let's do that. So we don't really need to. First, let's just make the boxes. So first, we'll have a row. Inside of that, we'll have the Audacity symbol. Let's say that that's about the second column. It'll get to about the second column. Oh, I keep on hoping for it to autofill in, but it's not going to. So we'll have one there. We're just making these boxes with nothing in them at the moment. So let's make another. This one can probably go wherever we want it, somewhere between 6 and 10. It's going to be right shifted, so let's just say 10. So this is the title. Whereas this is the Audacity symbol. I can completely spell. That's a skill I have. Sorry. Command backslash, or wait, forward slash. Command forward slash is the thing that, well, on a Mac at least, that's what automatically makes it a comment, which is nice. So this is the top, and now we need another for the image, the big, our big image in the middle there, and we'll just say that's another class row. It's not turning colors for that reason. So that's our image. Now we get to another box, which will hold where that featured work sign was.
Featured work. Yep.
So we always need the class row. I don't really know if this one doesn't really have a and then next we'll have our actual. This is a problem with me calling that one featured work, because the top one was the featured work, literally like the text that says featured work. The next one would be what actually is the featured work. So we'll have to come up with a different name for that.
Featured work images, or
yeah, sounds good. So we again need a row here because it needs to go all the way across for this.
So is that going to include the images and the text, or?
We could do it either way. We'd probably need a separate. I think it's probably easier to include the text with them because then they'll be in the same columns. It'll just be an image with text.
Got it.
Let's add that in. So the images and text need their own thing in the middle. So that'll be keep on forgetting this. There we are. So these are every 4. So we'll just say column 4 for each of them. So the 4 specifies the total width here. And then you probably just cut and paste this, copy paste this. And I think that's actually it, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, because you don't want to include those colored.
Right. So one problem right now is that I don't have any way to tell what the boxes actually look like. So let's just make a star thing here for that purpose. Let's see. Maybe some sort of border box.
Are you trying to do that?
Let's just make a border and make it solid. Let's see what everything looks like. Okay, so now I want to actually open this in a browser. See what it looks like. So that does not look like much at the moment.
Can you share that?
Yeah. So maybe I should have this as a separate thing so Hangouts will actually share it properly. Here we are. Okay, so this is what that looked like at the moment, which is probably not what we want it to look like. There's nothing in these boxes right now. So let's give our margin to be like 20 pixels and update it. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Let's, instead of just having the margin bottom, let's just give margin everything 20 pixels. Okay, that's a little bit better. We're still having the problem that it's kind of hard to see what's in what. It'd probably be helpful if we actually added some text to all of these things. So let's, maybe I'll just, I don't even know if screen share works if I'm dual screening.
I think it does. You just have to present the whole screen.
Okay. Oh, screen 2. Cool.
Nice. That's cool.
Okay. So let's see here. What else could I do to, well, yeah, just put some text in. So let's just say Udacity and title. Actually, what was the name of, it was Joe, it was like a
Duet. Jane Duet.
Duet, yeah. Instead of making it, wait, was it Joe Duet or Jane?
Jane Duet.
Yeah, they feminized the last name too. Okay, Jane Duet. And then the image, we'll just say, image.
Yeah.
Featured work. We'll ignore the white space anyway. So now we can see what actually happened.
Nice.
Okay, so now we see the boxes and how they sort of are actually taking shape. So we have, it looks like one too many, well, okay, so I'm guessing this is probably the grid, the whole outer one. No, the whole outer one might be the body. And this one would be grid. And then these would be the rows. So the rows look like they're supposed to. And thing 1, thing 2, and thing 3 look like they're supposed to. So that's good, sort of.
Yeah, it's on the way. Jane,
Okay. Does what?
is it just weird because Jane Duet goes all the rest of the way across?
Yeah, it's probably, I think for that one we'll need to right shift it. But it's probably easiest to make it go all the way across just to give it, because otherwise it might just cut off. Actually, let's experiment with that. So right now we have it at 10. Let's see what happens if I have it with 6. See how it doesn't reach the end?
Yeah.
I think we need this to add up to 12 so it reaches the end.
Got it.
So with 10, it will actually reach the end. And so we can right shift it later on.
Cool.
Okay, so those are our basic stuff right there. Let's see, what else do we all... Now we can actually start putting in some images and stuff like that, which is always good. Here, actually, I probably should just keep sharing that screen. So it's very useful.
Cool.
Okay, so I know I have the images. I actually already hosted them on Imgur, so that should probably help. So for instance, here is the Udacity image that we can replace that word Udacity with. So it'll just be an image with the image link. I could have also probably just done a hard file path, but I like hosting it online better. From there, let's get our main image for the code and put that where the code is supposed to be. It should be right here. And then I also have images for, instead of thing 1, we have this app, or appify. Instead of thing 2, we have, what were they, flowers? And then for thing 3,
okay.
Let's save it and then refresh. So we're making some progress here.
Nice.
So now it says Jane Duet up top. We have our Udacity symbol. Inside, a lot of boxes. So it's evidently giving a border to every image and every bit of, it doesn't look like every bit of text, but every image and then every div. Because you can see that this one is inside this as well. Featured work is still the same. The Appify, sunflower, and I'm not really sure what you call this on the right.
Okay. The label.
Yeah. So I know the label was, I think, staring at this right here. We can also add the text right here. So let's call that header 3 for the Bokeh.
Okay. B-O-K-E-H.
Okay, looks like it's all capitalized too. So we'll put that in. And then the text underneath that, I believe, is like just a link to GitHub.
Yeah.
No idea if that link works or not, but let's just see if what we did there had any effect over there. So nice. It looks like we have another starting to fill some stuff in and add in the text. I'll quickly add in some of the text for a bunch of these different things then. The same exact thing for the sunflower, just copy and pasting that. Should probably actually also properly indent this stuff. Just to make it look good. And then the last one I think is Appify. So once again, see what our effect was there.
Nice.
Okay, adding up. I think Jane DeWitt was different than it was originally. It also had something else, right?
Front End Ninja.
Oh yeah, and I think everything was capitalized too.
Yeah, it was like a subtitle.
Actually, let's make that a header. Looks really big, so we'll call it H1. There's nothing else that we'll call H1, so it'll help us stylize it too. And then front end, I think the headers automatically make the caps. The headers will already make sort of a break. So we don't have to add a div or a break statement there. So let's add that, see what it looks like. Cool. We're a lot of the ways there. We have the sort of HTML structure now. So now we need to start adding CSS, which probably means starting to add some actual classes that we can actually use with everything. I know that there was the box sizing, and I'm pretty sure the font family also, I wrote this down ahead of time, so back on our CSS. So I suppose we can take this margin away. Hopefully that's unnecessary by now. And we don't really need actually, let's keep the borders for now. But have box sizing the border box, and then the font family is Lotto, I think. At least that's what I was told on our website. So hopefully it's right. Okay, so now it's looking more like it was probably supposed to. I would say we're 3/4 of the way there, but we're really not. We're really not at all. We're 3/4 of the way to the point where you can start playing with it on your own and sort of making things. But if we're actually truly perfectly matching it, we're really not even that close. Because a lot of the work is going to get things to be exactly how you want it, with the exact amount of padding that you want it, with the exact fonts you want, the same colors that you want, and all that fun stuff. So let's see. Let's add some classes. So our first class, it'll be class row, but it will also be our header. So what's a good word? What's a good class name for a header? I don't want to. I hope, is header already taken? I feel like header is just a little close to it.
The same name. Do like top line headline.
Top line. Sure. Yeah. So we'll have top line there, and then maybe maybe we want this one. The Udacity symbol is going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be on an image right there. But maybe this one we want to stylize something in it. So we'll call this, title's definitely taken. Okay. Name is also taken. Okay. Let's see. What should we call it? Signature.
ID, but then that's also taken.
Yeah. Signature.
Signature.
Probably misspelled.
As long as it's consistent.
Yeah, that's all that really matters, I suppose. That's going to bug me. That's okay. Actually, let's clean this up as well. Make everything a little bit more readable. featured work we should probably give or two. Okay, that looks pretty readable there. So next we need our image, our our center. So maybe we'll just call it center image.
Mm-hmm.
Featured work, we could just literally call featured work. I'm actually not sure what the standard is for words like this. Like I kind of want to use like snake case or
underscore would be good.
Underscore. Underscores don't screw anything up.
Or dash. Either one.
I don't work with CSS enough compared to what I would call real programming.
Dash is like all the grid stuff uses dashes.
Okay, yeah, dashes are clearly safe there. So we'll add a thing there too. And then this one, if this was featured work, then maybe we can call this. This should all be the same. So all these should be identical. So there we are, featured work data. And that should be all the classes that we probably need. So let's just copy and paste them all in. Actually, it might just be easier to separate for a second. So top line. Next one was signature. Copy and pasting. So if I have a spelling mistake one place, it propagates. It's better than it not propagating.
Yeah.
I'm probably breaking multiple standards here, but that's all right. You can clean that up at the end. This isn't a very large project. So that should be it for what we need right here. Now it's time to actually put some stuff in. So our top line, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna want a border bottom here if I'm looking at the thing. So border bottom, we're gonna want it to be solid, and I think it gives us the color, right?
Yeah, it's BC. Wait, hold on, it's a different one.
I think it says BBBB.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just try it and see what happens.
BCBBBB.
It looks sort of, actually, let's take away these borders. We might want to take away, yeah, okay, let's try this again. Oh, that already looks a lot better.
Yeah.
So taking away the borders, we have our gray line there. Okay, so let's see what we all need. Our signature is going to have to be right aligned. So let's make sure that happens. So right aligned, that's good. Our center image, how do you align an image?
If you just use flex, automatically align at center.
You said?
Hold on, I'm looking at it.
This is what the internet is for. Do any students have questions on what we've done so far? Since we're now to the point where we're actually going to start sort of experimenting to try to get things. Basically, we're far enough along that we can actually really start to experiment to get how we want to look, as opposed to just, I wouldn't say blindly following along, but like we have the structure here. So now we're really going to be playing with the CSS to get things to look exactly like we want them.
I think you want to use oh yeah, text-align. So,
it is still text-align?
Yeah.
Okay, so just center. See if that changes anything. Did not change anything.
That's weird.
Let's just inspect element and see if undoing that makes something there.
Oh, it's
Text align center seems to be doing something. So what happens if I say right? Huh, that didn't seem to have any effect.
Oh, if you use margin auto.
Okay, let's try that. Actually, let's just try that here.
And to answer your question, Julie, is there a limit to the number of classes you can combine in any one div? To my knowledge, I don't think there is. You'll just need to keep putting a space and then add another class. You know, there's a practical limit.
I mean, you have to keep them all straight in your head.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know. I would try to use less than 5 just to like not go crazy trying to keep track of all the classes. And if you are using that many that often, you might consider just putting them all together in a single class.
Yeah, I don't. It's mostly a mental thing there.
Yeah.
You want things to be as easy to understand as possible for both. It's not just for your sake. It's if you ever share your code with anyone and want to help, or actually, you can kind of look at code readability doesn't just affect other people trying to help you. It affects you trying to pick up your work anytime after you've forgotten what you've done, which is if you ever pick up your work a month after you've left it, you'll notice that you'll notice a very large difference in where you commented well and you know sort of did classes in a logical manner from where you just sort of hacked something together and have no idea what you're doing, or when you come back to it because you didn't really like have a good sense of what was going on.
Okay. Also, you need to set the width of that image. I think. We want it to send all the way across, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be width like 100%, I think. Let's see if that does anything. Does that image have that class on it? Because it doesn't seem to be changing anything.
I could have swore sensor image.
Is it? Oh, maybe that image itself needs to have that class rather than the
row.
Yeah.
Let's give it a shot. Python habits are carrying on over to CSS. Okay, let's see if that does anything. Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, maybe too much.
Okay. That's a big thing though, because now we can actually play with these like we're supposed to instead of just blindly and hoping something works. With auto.
So it looks like it's.
Let's just keep it try to be centered instead of there. No. Now it stays centered and not trying. I think the problem is that what we'd want it to do is then, if we had width equals 100%.
Would it be better to put the image inside a div? Would that change anything?
Well, I think it is technically inside of a div. It's inside
right, but I mean, have center image be part of its own div.
That did not affect anything at all. Because that was what we were just trying to do.
I guess.
What if, is there a way to have a max height? Height, yes, there is. Maybe we can give it an actual max height. Like 500 pixels, or let's just make it small so we know what the thing is. It'll probably stretch it out, right?
I don't think so.
Oh,
you're right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how we can do that. That might be what we want.
Yeah, I think it is what we want.
Okay, so let's make that slightly larger. Let's have that be 300 pixels. Okay, that seems more like what we're trying to get at.
What happens if you resize the window? Oh, nice.
Okay, I like it. Seems to work. So we got that down. Featured work. I think we wanted that a specific color and font, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the font again? Or not the font, the color.
Yeah, I think it was BB. No, BC. Isn't it the same color gray as the BC BBB?
Okay, let's try that out.
It's got to be
Good to me.
little sharp. Oh,
was that what it wanted? I should probably go find the.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
The text, the different font though.
Okay. Any idea what the font? So here's where we're getting into a more complicated thing, is we're trying to actually figure out what font it is.
Yeah, I don't think it.
Which could take serious time.
Did you already put in Lato?
I thought I did. I thought I did that for literally everything, but.
Sans serif. Huh. Yeah, it's all right. Let's keep moving.
Okay.
So Julie asks why did that image bleed over to the other divs when it was too big?
Well, it was scaling itself without a max. It didn't have a max height. And so since we had specified 100% width and tried to keep proportionality, I don't know why it decided to keep proportionality, but I assume that's just how this browser is written. It's probably how most browsers are written. And we didn't have anything that, yeah, I think that's just it. I suppose the real question is why it didn't just push everything else down.
Right.
I'm not sure. Do you know?
Yeah.
Because you think it should.
Right.
That would be the expected behavior, is to push all the other divs down.
Because the div should expand to fit whatever is inside it.
Yeah.
Each row have a certain.
That's a good question.
So maybe, I'm gonna play around a little bit with this while you keep going, Luke.
Okay. We are actually over time by now, but let's just center the text here. Make it look a little bit better. Probably give, did we ever do anything with our H1, H2 stuff? This looks about to be the right size, but Amplify should probably be bigger. So I think that was H3, right? So since we only have that, we could make another class for each of these individual things. But right now, since they're the only H2s and it looks like that's it, I'll be lazy and do this. So font size, See what this does. A little bit bigger. Color. I think this was one of the other colors. So I'm guessing that's the 747704. Looks like I never did anything with this featured work font either. 704.
I think I figured it out, Luke.
Yeah?
Because if you take the margin auto out, oh, no, just kidding. Wait. Yeah, if you take the margin auto out, then it will cause the image to bleed over. So it'll adjust the margin of the div to push over into the other div.
Gotcha.
I think. Yeah. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I can share the screen if you guys want to see see an example of that. Hold on a second. This one here, and share my whole screen. Cool. So this is what we have. What we were running into before. We had margin auto. And that was causing, hold on. Yeah, so do you see that still?
Yeah.
So that's causing this to happen. But then if you take the margin auto out, and that'll just adjust.
Looks good.
Cool. All right.
Okay. Actually, we're quite a bit over time, so I'm just going to, like, this is basically the gist of what you do. From here, you play around with things, you get things to look how you want. You constantly experiment, refresh, see what it looks like, go back to your CSS, experiment some more. Basically, it's a constant cycle of you test, you make some changes, you test some more, and then you look a lot of stuff up online, because by this point, no one really knows exactly like what you might be going to Google Fonts to try to find exactly what font you want. If you can't find it, like just from knowing it, you're probably going to be playing around with like the margins, the padding, all that stuff to get everything exactly the right size. Probably the font sizes you're going to be playing around with. You're probably going to be trying to get the spacing. Like right now, this H1 is quite a bit separated from the Jane Duet is quite a bit separated from front end Ninja, and it looks like I don't really want any space there at all. So I'd have to look up, like, probably putting in, I think that'd probably be an H1 thing for padding or margin, bring it down to 0 or something really small, stuff like that. So did anyone have any final questions before we go off there?
Guess not.
Okay. Well, I hope this was educational for everybody. Maybe you guys even enjoyed yourselves. But good night, everybody.
Bye.